Hello everyone, in this lesson we will learn about negotiating the shipping terms in the contract. First, shipping time. The shipping time refers to the time when the seller loads the goods specified in the contract onto the transportation vehicle, or hands them over to the carrier, hence also known as the shipping, or delivery period. The shipment time is the main transaction term in international contracts for the sale of goods, and the seller must strictly deliver the goods according to the prescribed time without any arbitrary advance or delay. First, there are three methods for specifying the shipping time. First, clearly define and specify the shipping time. It is stipulated to be shipped in a certain month, like shipping in July. Specify cross-month shipping if shipped in July or August or September. Require shipment to be made on or before a certain month or day, such as the shipment date is not later than July 31st. It is stipulated that the shipment shall be made within a certain number of days after receiving the letter of credit, such as shipped within 30 days after receiving the letter of credit. Third, specify recent shipping terms. For example, immediate shipment, ship as soon as possible. Second, issues to be noted when specifying the shipping time. First, the provisions on the shipping time in the sales contract should be clear and specific, and the shipping period should be moderate. Second, attention should be paid to the source of goods, the nature and characteristics of the products, and the seasonality of delivery. Third, special seasonal factors of the delivery port and destination port should be taken into consideration. Fourth, while specifying the shipping date, consideration should be given to whether the provisions on the opening date of the letter of credit are clear and reasonable. Second, loading port and destination port. The loading port, also known as the loading port, refers to the port where goods are first loaded. The destination port, also known as the discharge port, refers to the final port of discharge in international trade. The loading port is generally proposed by the seller and confirmed with the buyer's consent. The destination port is generally proposed by the buyer and confirmed with the seller's consent. First, the loading port and destination port. There are three methods for specifying. First, the loading port and destination port shall be designated separately. Shipping port Shanghai, destination port London. Second, specify two or more loading ports or destination ports separately, such as loading port Dalian or Qingdao or Shanghai, destination port London or Liverpool. Third, specify the choice of port, destination port, London, choose port, Hamburg or Rotterdam, loading port, major ports in Europe. Second, issues to be noted when determining domestic and international loading ports or destination ports. First, issues to be noted when specifying foreign loading ports or destination ports. First, the regulations for foreign loading ports or destination ports should strive to be specific and clear. We cannot accept inland cities as loading or destination ports. Attention must be paid to the specific conditions of the loading and unloading port. Attention should be paid to the issue of duplicate lanes in foreign ports. If it is stipulated to choose ports, it should be noted that there should not be too many ports to choose, generally not exceeding 3, and they must be in the same navigation area and on the same route. Second, issues to be noted when specifying domestic loading ports or destination ports. First, in export business, the regulations for domestic loading ports are generally based on foreign traded ports close to the source of goods, while considering the conditions and cost levels of both ports and domestic transportation. Second, in the import business, the regulations for domestic destination ports should generally choose foreign trade ports that are closest to the cargo unit or consumption area as the most reasonable. However, if it is difficult to determine the destination port at the time of signing the contract, or to avoid congestion caused by concentrated arrival times at the port in the import contract, it may also be stipulated as a Chinese port. Third, partial shipment and transshipment. First, partial shipment, also known as partial shipment or installment shipment, it refers to the shipment of goods under a contract in several batches or phases. In UCP 600, Article 31A, Article 31B, and Article 32 provide the following provisions regarding partial shipment. Accordingly, in the sales contract and the letter of credit, when partial, periodic, and quantitative shipments are specified, the seller must strictly comply with the relevant provisions of the contract and letter of credit. Second, transportation. In the case of sea transportation, it refers to during the sea transportation process between the loading port and the unloading port. The transportation of goods unloaded from one ship and loaded onto another ship. In the case of air transportation, it refers to the transportation process from the airport of origin to the destination airport, where goods are unloaded from one aircraft and loaded onto another aircraft. In the case of road, railway, or inland waterway transportation, it refers to during the transportation process between the loading and destination using different modes of transportation. The act of unloading goods from and then loading them onto another mode of transportation. It should be clearly stated in the contract whether transshipment is allowed, such as allowing transshipment. Third, when establishing partial shipping and transshipment terms to note issues. First, there are different interpretations and applications of partial shipment internationally, and it should be clearly stated in the contract whether partial shipment is allowed. Second, if the letter of credit allows partial shipment but does not specify how partial shipment should be made, it can be understood that the delivery can be made in one batch or in several batches, with no limit on the quantity of each batch. Third, according to UCP 300, in maritime transportation, even if the letter of credit prohibits transshipment, a bill of lading indicating that transshipment will or may occur can still be accepted as long as it indicates that the goods are transported by container, trailer, or LASH barge. Fourth, according to UCP 300 in international multimodal transport, air transport, road, rail, and inland water transport, even if the letter of credit prohibits transshipment, transport documents indicating that transshipment will or may occur are still acceptable. Fourth, shipping notice. If the contract is signed under FOB, CFR, and CIF terms, the seller shall, after the goods are loaded onto the ship at the agreed time of the name, quantity, weight, invoice amount, wealth, name, and loading date of the goods, inform the buyer by telegraph, such as the contract is signed according to FCA, CPT, and CIP terms. The seller shall, after the goods are handed over to the carrier for takeover, inform the buyer of the specific situation and delivery date of the delivered goods by telegraph, so that the buyer can prepare for unloading the goods in a timely manner and handle the import customs clearance procedures. When the buyer and the seller transact on FOB, CFR, FCA, and CPT terms, the seller after delivery shall promptly notify the buyer of the shipment to prevent corresponding compensation losses due to the buyer's breach of warranty in order to avoid disputes arising from inconsistent understanding of timing between the buyer and the seller. The time for the seller to issue the shipping notice should be clearly stipulated in the contract. In practical business, it is usually stipulated that the seller shall, within 1 to 2 days after the goods are loaded onto the ship, send a shipping notice by fax or email. When the seller sends a shipping notice by fax, in order to avoid disputes between the two parties due to loss or error in the transmission of the shipping notice, the fax report of the shipping notice should also be returned if necessary. Fifth, loading and unloading conditions. The loading and unloading conditions are only established under the condition of chartering a ship. First, lay time. Lay time refers to the agreed time allowed to complete loading and unloading tasks, which is generally expressed in days or hours in order to calculate the lay time. The contract must also specify the starting and ending time of lay time. Second, load or discharge rate refers to the daily quantity of goods loaded and unloaded. The specific determination of load or discharge rate should generally follow the normal load or discharge speed customary in the port and adhere to the principle of seeking truth from facts. If the regulations are too high and the load or discharge tasks cannot be completed, the loss of demurrage must be borne. The regulations are too low, although the ship can complete the load or discharge tasks ahead of schedule and receive dispatch money from the ship owner. The low load or discharge rate and long vessel stay in port will increase the freight costs, resulting in a loss for the charterer. Third, demurrage and dispatch money. Demurrage refers to exceeding the prescribed loading and unloading period. If the charterer fails to complete the loading and unloading operations, causing economic losses to the ship owner, a certain penalty that the charterer shall pay to the ship owner. Dispatch money refers to the amount of time within the prescribed load or discharge period that the charterer completes the load or discharge operations in advance, which saves the ship owner the costs of the vessel in port. The ship owner should pay a certain bonus to the charterer for the time saved. Please complete the following post-class tasks. That's all for this lesson. See you next time.